And as we learned about this new pandemic, President Trump's coronavirus task force rolled out recommendations on how to deal with this new virus. And it was touted as 15 days to slow the spread. But that quickly changed industries across the country, shutting down. Some of them would never reopen again.
We're now in the third month of 2021, and it seems like everything Governor Gavin Newsom is doing now is geared towards reopening the economy, reopening industry, reopening schools, and reopening various businesses. But we do know throughout this pandemic that a lot of those businesses didn't survive. And for the businesses here in Kern County, shaking off the financial setbacks is far from over.
In the 28 years that I've worked here, without a doubt, my hardest year in business.
I thought that it would last a couple of weeks.
What business owners believed to be a short-lived blow to revenue,
A whole year later, it's still here.
was instead a period that crippled thousands of businesses across California for good.
I have a lot of empathy for the ones that didn't manage to survive.
It was March 2020 when Governor Gavin Newsom ordered the closure of all bars, nightclubs, wineries, and brew pubs. A few days later, he issued his first shelter-in-place order.
We direct a statewide order for people to stay at home.
Non-essential activities outside the home were prohibited. Dining in restaurants, exercising inside a gym, and getting your hair done were among the many things the mandate did not allow.
I really thought it was only going to be a temporary situation.
Ramona Potts owns Atomic Kitten Salon in downtown Bakersfield.
Please wear a mask.
She took Newsom's first closure order to heart.
I didn't want anybody to be hurt or die because they came to get their hair done.
But additional restrictions would follow. New regulations and reopening models would be handed down by Newsom, and those changed several times.
The most frustrating part was doing everything I possibly could to make sure I followed all the rules and everything was in place to keep everybody safe, and then have them close again.
Newsom rolled out a 6-point framework to reopen the state on April 14th, 2020. On May 26th, he allowed several industries to reopen, including restaurants, gyms, and theaters. Then, on July 1st, he shut down indoor operations for those industries in 19 counties.
Every day was literally a new day.
Gino Valprado owns Luigi's in East Bakersfield. He says keeping up with the new regulations felt impossible.
It seemed to get crazier, between the trying to figure out what we're supposed to be doing and the different regulations, and we let 28 people go. 3 weeks later, rehired 28 people. 20 of them, 10 of them didn't want to come back. So it's truthfully been insane. And then we went from outside to partial inside, and then sometime in June, completely open.
But being completely open would last only for a couple of weeks. In July, Newsom announced new restrictions that will again order the closure of several industries. But contrary to the downward direction many businesses were going towards at this point, some businesses experienced the opposite.
Everything's gone really well. With this whole pandemic, it's actually been a boost to my business.
And that's because Mark Pacheco, the owner of a local Bakersfield gym, didn't follow the closures. He's kept the weight of the governor's orders on the bench rack since.
When all this nonsense started about the business closures and, first you have to close, then you can open, and then a soft close, and then we'll allow this but we won't allow that. It was the blind leading the blind. It wasn't about anybody being in a position where they had the knowledge or the wherewithal to really determine what was best for us. At that point, I go, you know what? They can go themselves, because I'm not going out that way. I'm not going to kiss their ass.
In December, Newsom would roll out another shelter-in-place order. This one would introduce many of the same restrictions as the order back in March, requiring several industries to close again. But by this point, some businesses lost faith in the government's credibility to govern.
We just finally gave up and said, okay, we're going to do what we're going to do to keep ourselves and our clients safe. And hopefully there won't be any repercussions from that.
I didn't know whether to close, but everybody come in and give me a high five and say thank you for staying open. We really appreciate what you're doing.
I pretty much handle business as usual, and if people are offended by that, they don't have to come here.
And 23 ABC recently learned that the city and county don't keep track of the pandemic-related business closures. However, the Kern County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and the Kern County Black Chamber of Commerce recently took it upon themselves to conduct a survey with the local communities here to learn how those businesses have been impacted by the pandemic. They say that the results are expected in the weeks to come. In downtown Bakersfield, Bayan Wang, 23 ABC, connecting you.